آزادی بیان،
言论自由，
free speech.
We have a principle on privacy. It says we are all entitled to a private life, but should accept such scrutiny as is in the public interest. Would you agree with the basic principle?
Yes, entirely. I mean, obviously everything hangs on what one means by in the public interest, but with the principle, certainly on my understanding of in the public interest, yes, I agree entirely.
The public interest is clearly not simply what interests the public. Could you give us an example of where you think the public interest does entitle someone to publish details of a person's sex life?
Well, I think if they were using their image to sell something in a way inconsistent with their sexual conduct, with their private sexual conduct, then I think in certain circumstances that could be admissible. For example, if someone were selling baby food on the ground that he was a perfect family man and pictures of him with his family, and at the same time he was actually a serial adulterer, I think it is arguable, I wouldn't say it's conclusive, but arguable that that should be revealed. But if there is no nexus or no connection between what he's done in his private life and what he does in his public life, then I think it is completely out.
We have a principle on reputation which reads as follows: we should be able to counter slurs on our reputations without stifling legitimate debate. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would. I think that that gets into, of course, the area of defamation. And I think defamation is much easier than privacy because, in contrast to privacy, a defamatory statement can be corrected. If somebody says that man is a thief, but they're then compelled to admit that he is not a thief and to confirm that he's not a thief, then that's gone an awful long way to putting it right. In contrast with privacy, once something private has been revealed, no power on earth can make it private again, in which case you've got to think very, very carefully before you reveal it, because the damage is irreparable.
I think
I mean, for example, in my case, having said that I took part in an orgy, if then the following week they come out with a huge apology on the front page saying, "We're really sorry we revealed Mr. Mosley's orgy. In fact, it was private and we shouldn't have revealed it." It's really no help to me.
the fact that it was a private orgy.
The fact that it was a private orgy doesn't really help me. I mean, once it's been revealed, it can't be unrevealed. That is the difficulty.
And this is very interesting because obviously privacy and reputation are closely connected. But you've just teased out an interesting difference. Just to be clear, you think a prominent right of reply is an effective defense of the reputation, but not of the privacy.
Indeed I do. I think that as soon as one analyses it, if somebody says something about somebody that is not true and is then put right, and the truth is explained with equal prominence and with the same determination as the original statement, then I think that has largely been put right. But the difficulty with privacy is that once something private has been made public, it is no longer private, and nothing can ever make it private again. And that's why the only remedy, as far as privacy is concerned, is not to publish it. Once it's published, there's nothing to be done.
These days it's not just published, it goes on the internet, and people just Google it. You said in your very interesting talk that you've got stuff about you removed from some 200 websites?
Getting on for 200.
How does that work? I mean, there are websites all over the world. How do you do it?
Well, with great difficulty. What you need is a lawyer in each country. We've got lawyers in more than 20 countries working on this. And they then write to the website in question. They send them a cease and desist letter and say, if you do not remove this from your site, we will sue you. And invariably they do remove it once they realise that there's been a serious court judgment in your favour and that what they're publishing is illegal. But it's a very laborious process.
Illegal in which country?
Well, illegal in the UK. But of course, once it's been found by a judge to be illegal, if you're running a website in any country, you will be seriously at risk of a similar finding in your own country.
But isn't that a chilling effect on free speech? Because
Well,
in a
no.
way it's threatening libel tourism.
No, because what you're threatening is to go in their country against them. And I mean, the whole thing is that you find the website in Germany, for example, or Austria, and you say, if you don't take that down, we'll come after you. But come after you in your country, not come after you in England. And that's the difference between libel tourism.
And your experience is they do take it down.
Yes.
What was it that Google took down?
Google haven't yet taken anything down because they say that what comes up on their site is a result of an automatic process. Their crawler operates according to certain algorithms and that's the end of it. And they don't want to police the internet. We say if you publish the picture or you publish the statement, you've published it on your page. They've got a decision in the UK that's somewhat in their favour. They've got a decision in France that's gone against them. I think it's watch this space.
So it's going through the courts?
Yes.
And is this about google.com, the main site?
It's,
Or is it about, because then there's google.co.uk or google.france?
It's all of them, because the thing is that google.com is obviously widespread, but you tend to get small differences, but not that big between the countries. But in the end, it's Google Inc. in the States that are responsible.
Yes, you would never win in the States.
Well, that remains to be seen. There are American lawyers who would suggest that we would.
But on what grounds?
Well, on the grounds that it's an invasion of privacy and that the images published were obtained illegally. And it's interesting that there was a case that went to California by one of, I think it's the Newcastle Council, an authority in the north of England, where they actually got the order, much to the outrage of the net people, but they did get the order. The American courts have a different approach because they have the First Amendment, but in the end there are limits to what you can do even in America.
What, in this whole experience for you, which cannot have been found, what was the absolutely worst moment in that experience?
Oh, absolutely the worst moment. Worst moment was getting the newspaper and seeing what they printed.
And what did it feel like?
It felt...
You didn't know until...
I knew nothing. I knew only that somebody rang me up at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning saying, have you seen the News of the World? And
Was it a friend who rang up? Or?
It was my pressman at the FIA. And so I hadn't seen it, so I went to the local newsagent, bought 2 copies, and there it all was. It's exactly, I've never, touch wood, I've never been burgled, but I imagine it's like coming home and finding your whole house has been ransacked. Somebody's invaded everything that's most private to you. Like that, only far worse, because you know that everybody in the country, everybody in the street, everybody you can see, all know. Well, you put the television on, there's a football match, Premier League football match, you know they've all seen it. Everybody's read it. And it's an extraordinarily invasive thing. And I decided at that stage that I would do whatever I could, not about myself, because I couldn't repair the damage, but I'd do whatever I could to stop them doing this to people. And I've been busily engaged on that now for 3.5 years.
And in your mind,
So sorry.
your case is clearly, it's about privacy,
Yes.
much more than reputation.
Yes, it's all about privacy, because the problem with the breach of privacy, particularly in sexual matters, is that what it does to your reputation depends on who reads it. I mean, one of the Formula One drivers said, my only problem with that is I wasn't invited to the party. Another one would say something completely different. Whereas defamation is, by definition, a statement that lowers you in the estimation of right-thinking people generally.
In other words, if you'd had your hand in the till, if someone said you had your hand in the till.
I mean, there was a defamatory element in the article where they said that it was a Nazi orgy as opposed to an ordinary orgy. But they lost on that because I had, in the course of demonstrating that it was not in the public interest, I had to demonstrate that it was clearly not a Nazi orgy, and that became very, very clear. So that was a sort of byproduct, and I could have then sued them for defamation for the Nazi thing, but the damages I would have got would probably not have covered the costs, and then the court would probably have said, look, you've already been recompensed for this, and anyway I've got something much more ambitious in the pipeline for them in the future anyway.
Do you think only the rich can defend their privacy?
At the moment, yes, and that is completely wrong. I mean, it's part of the legal system in this country anyway, that only the rich can sue. And this, in a way, is a hangover from the 19th century when only the rich had a vote. Well, now everybody's got a vote, but still only the rich can sue, and that's, in my estimation, completely wrong. As far as privacy and defamation are concerned, I believe there should be a statutory tribunal to deal with these, able to deal with them at either no cost or negligible cost, so that the entire population have access to justice in those areas. Because at the moment, except if you're not rich, you have no access to justice. And I believe that it's a nonsense to say that we live under the rule of law if 90+% of the population have no access to the courts.
Don't you think prior notification could have a chilling effect on press freedom?
I don't believe that prior notification could have a chilling effect, because all it would do is put the 1% or thereabouts who are ambushed in the same position of the 99% who know anyway and seek injunctions. And once you know and you seek an injunction, you have a big obstacle to overcome, which is you've got to satisfy the judge that you're more likely than not to win the ultimate action. That's Section 12 of the Act. So it's a big barrier to overcome, and all that a prior notification would do is stop the ambush. And of course the ambush, where they do it, like in my case, where the first thing you know is a Sunday morning, they know then that only somebody very eccentric like me would actually sue them.
Just to be clear, an ambush on privacy grounds.
Ambush on privacy grounds.
Because on reputation grounds, you're arguing that you would have a comeback.
Indeed. Sorry, to be clear, I would say that prior notification is essential in privacy matters, because without prior notification, there is no remedy. With defamation, it doesn't really matter, because if they defame you, provided we have a tribunal that can deal with it cost-free, so that people with no money are not excluded.
Or a right to reply.
Well, exactly. I mean, really, your tribunal. You need a tribunal that can deal with defamation without cost. And if you had that, whether you had prior notification or not wouldn't matter, because provided justice in the sense of a correction, an apology of equal prominence in the same part of the newspaper was available and the tribunal could order that, then I think it's fine.